So I want to talk about 3 fun and easy ways to write lyrics. These are 3 methods that I use on a pretty regular basis. And I've got a lot of things that I do. You obviously have to change it up, keep things fresh. But these are 3 things that I do a lot, all based around poetry. That's right, poetry. You can take a poem, find a line you like, and rearrange the words. Just rearrange the words. You know, writers don't own the words. They own the lines at a point, but they don't own the words. You can take a line and move the words in every direction. There's an amazing scene in the Bob Dylan documentary, No Direction Home, where he does this for like 2 minutes. He sees this big sign with all these words. He rearranges the words in every possible way that he could use the words. So take a line that's moving or interesting and just rearrange the words in every possible way those words can be used. And a lot of times one of those combinations will spark something, and then you're off to the races. You've got the beginning of a song. The second thing you can do is find a phrase that you love, a line or phrase that you love from poetry, or, I mean, it doesn't have to be poetry, but it can be a book, a magazine, wherever you find words or lines, but something that's inspiring to you. I think poetry is probably not a bad idea. Take a phrase that you like and do some stream of consciousness free writing for about 2 or 3 pages based on that phrase. And then go back and look at the lines you wrote. And a lot of times you'll find some really cool lines. You pull one line out and write it at the top. That's the beginning of a verse or a chorus or a bridge. So for the Mercury and Lightning record, I did that for almost every song. I read a lot of Dylan Thomas. If you want to know, Bob Dylan's real name is Robert Zimmerman. He got his last name from his favorite poet, Dylan Thomas. And so I would read the Dylan Thomas and I would pull a phrase and I would write 2 pages about how that phrase made me feel, and I would take lines out of the journal that I had written, and I would use those as the beginning or starts to songs or verses or any sort of part of a song. But there's a third thing you can do with poetry. You can just straight up steal it. For real, steal it. They don't own the emotion that's behind the phrase. And what's really funny, when you listen to Bob Dylan and Springsteen and so many of my favorite writers, when I dove into poetry, I would often come across phrases and lines that are definitely in other people's music. Popular music today, I can think of several instances where they full on just took a phrase, stole a phrase, and used it and made a song, or used that phrase in a song. So you can, if it makes you feel something, I don't know if you can just sing the whole line or the whole verse, but you can easily steal a phrase. And there are several songs where I stole the phrases straight out of some sort of poetry. My favorites again are Dylan Thomas, Pablo Neruda, and Christian Wyman. Those are some of my favorites. They also are just really inspiring in general. When you're on an airplane or in a car, when you have some downtime at work, well, turn your phone off, crack open a poetry book, and you'd be really amazed at what that does to your brain. When you start to have those words moving through your brain, start to have those ideas turning over, and you're collecting this stuff that eventually will come out in your writing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed those 3 ideas. I've got more where that came from, and I hope to share more of that with you in the future, but I do hope that's helpful. All right, happy writing, guys.